in terms of coming into the school and applying into it, one of the things that we're really looking for our students to have is specifically to have taken their biology courses. We want to see that you've taken biology 1 and 2 at the same college or university. We're also looking for courses like chemistry, pre-calculus, math courses along those lines. I always like to mention that so that our students that are coming in as transfers know how to kind of set that baseline and make sure that they're well prepared coming in. In terms of school and arts and sciences, the one that I like to mention that a lot of students may not necessarily know, we are looking for a foreign language requirement. We are looking for your English course as well. We want to make sure that our students, if possible, have also been taking those math courses. So for some of the other ones, we're going to kind of skip over since I know most of our folks are interested in SEBS here. But the other one I'll note is the School of Nursing in particular. When we do see our nursing students come in, we do have a RN to a BSN program. However, if you do not have that RN, you will not be able to transfer into this program. So something I do like to mention there. The schools at the bottom, the upper division schools. So typically those are going to have credit requirements. So for example, you'll see the Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy. For that school, you're going to need 30 college level credits or more. They're really kind of looking for that sophomore status. Same thing along the lines of the School of Management and Labor Relations. So something I just like to kind of go over in terms of our schools of application. When you submit your application, you'll be able to apply into 3 of these schools. We do recommend that you choose 3. It does give you maximum admissions consideration, and you will be receiving an admissions decision based off of all of those. So in terms of how to apply, so we do have our own Rutgers application. Rutgers is a part of the coalition application as well. As a transfer student, you're going to want to complete the Rutgers application. One question we often get is, what is actually the definition of a transfer student? So a transfer student is going to be someone who has graduated from high school and after their graduation has completed 12 or more college level credits. That is our definition of a transfer student. We often see students who have taken college level courses in high school. If you've taken those before you've graduated, those are not necessarily going to put you at transfer status. It's going to be the courses you take after you leave high school. So that is our primary definition for a transfer student. In terms of other documents to submit, it's going to depend a little bit in terms of how many credits that you have. So the first thing you're going to see here, self-reported academic record. As a transfer student, you won't need to worry about that. Since you've already graduated from high school, what we're going to do instead is collect your high school transcript. So if you have fewer than 24 college credits, we are going to require that. We're going to need to see your high school transcript. However, even if you have more than 24, we do recommend that you turn it in along with your application. It's not technically required, but it allows us to see the coursework that you've taken in high school and ensure that you've met some of the requirements in terms of admissions into some of those schools. So it's definitely something that's helpful to have, but you won't need to worry about filling out the self-reported academic record. For SAT or ACT scores. So a couple of things I'll mention on this. In general, for our students who have more than 12 credits after high school graduation, we generally don't collect test scores anyways. In the past, if you had fewer than 12 credits, we would look at your SAT or ACT scores. However, for 2021, we are test optional. If you are under 12 credits and you don't want to submit those test scores, that's okay. You don't need to submit those. There have been quite a few folks who had a hard time getting in for testing this last year. We're trying to be as flexible as possible in terms of those admissions requirements, since we know many students couldn't take them. For your transcripts, so we will need transcripts from all colleges that you've attended. So we frequently see folks who may have gone to county and just have the one. However, we do have lots of students who may have attended several colleges. Anywhere that you have received college credit or enrolled in a course, we are going to need that transcript. That is a common question. I know sometimes we'll work with students who maybe took a course and then withdrew before they received a grade. If you have enrolled in a course, we will need to see it. For your application review, something that makes the process go a little bit faster, we actually can use your unofficial transcripts for the actual application review. So if you have access to those unofficials, you can send those in. We will eventually need your official transcript, since that's going to be how we're going to do your credit evaluations when we add it to your file. But just know that on the application side for admissions, you can use those unofficial transcripts. Other things to note in terms of that, we sometimes see students who maybe have credit from AP courses on their transcript or something along those lines, dual enrollment courses that students may have taken in high school. We do want to make sure that, again, if you've taken courses at a college, let us know and we'll need the transcripts. If it is an AP course, generally we can see that. However, occasionally it will come through as a transfer credit as opposed to advanced placement. Just let us know, since otherwise we will be looking for another transcript since we're wondering where the transfer credits came from. For our application fee, we do have a $70 application fee. We also offer fee waivers as well. We really do want to make sure that $70 isn't the reason that stops you from coming to Rutgers. So if this is going to be a burden for you or your family, please let us know. We can certainly work with you on that there. We have a variety of other fee waivers as well for students who have participated in pre-college programs, for example. If you have official waivers through, say, College Board or ACT, we also have waivers for students who have served in the military or armed forces as well. So there are a lot of different options there, and please do let us know. Actually, I also forgot to mention, I talked about transcripts, but I will mention as well, if you took the GED, we'll need your official GED results as well. I'm sorry, I left that off on the high school transcript side. So just something to know if we have any folks with a GED here. For application due dates. So going to depend on whether you're looking at fall or spring. So for our fall students, we are looking at February 1st for our transfer application due date. And then for our spring students, that's going to be October 1st. So for our fall transfer students, submit by February. Generally, you're going to have your admissions decision typically in May or June. Is typically when those come out, as long as we have your required credentials, your transcripts, all of those things there. And then for our spring students, apply by October 1, and we will release admissions decisions no later than mid-December, which I know is a bit of a tight timeline on the spring side. Other things to note about the application due dates and the schools of application. So we do have some schools that are not open for spring admission. So when you're completing your application, that's something you're going to want to look at. We do post all school availability on our admissions website so that you can go through and check which schools you're interested in and ensure that they're available for that spring semester. And generally all of our schools are open for fall admissions, but the spring tends to be fewer schools for that one there. So the other thing I'll note, just in terms of our transfer recommendations. So a lot of it's going to depend on the school that you're applying into, your expected academic program, the field of study. However, in general, we do have some recommendations for our transfer students in terms of making them the most competitive applicant possible. So some of the things that we do recommend, ideally having 24 or more college level academic credits that would be completed by the time that you're going to enroll. Again, it doesn't have to be, but we do encourage our students to have that, and it puts them on a strong footing. In general, we are looking for students who have a 3.0 GPA or higher. That isn't a hard and fast rule. We know that everybody is different. Everyone has a different situation, and we look at all those applications individually. So something we recommend, but of course we will be looking at your grade trends. In terms of your grade trends, we do like to see that very steady or upward grade trend. We do want to make sure, specifically in your most recent semesters, that you're doing well. We want to make sure that you have that strong academic footing so that we know that you'll be successful here at Rutgers. Other big thing, remedial coursework, particularly for our students who are attending county college. Oftentimes, many of these students will take remedial coursework, specifically in English and math. We do want to see that you've completed that coursework before you're coming to Rutgers. I know I mentioned English Composition 1. We do look for our students to have that as well. And then just in general, having had that kind of college prep curriculum on the high school side, which is really why we're looking for that high school transcript if you are able to send them. So that's really what we're looking for on the admission side. Last thing I'll mention is just in terms of scholarships. We do have transfer scholarships that are offered through the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. I think one of the most well-known is the Phi Theta Kappa Award. So that is $8,000 per year. In order for students to be awarded that, they need to have been a member of PTK at their county college. And they need to be in PTK at the time that they apply. Typically, our recipients for those have generally a 3.9 to a 4.0. We tend to have very, very competitive applicants for that since it is an honor society. And we do offer those for both fall and spring. And then we also have another merit-based award, the Lamado Award. So it's between about $2,000 and $3,500 per year. And their specific requirements are that you have to have earned your associate degree in arts or sciences by June 1st before you come in. GPA for that is typically 3.8 or higher. So we got through all of it. I'm sorry to give you guys a ton of information in a short period of time. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over. And I know we'll have lots of time for questions at the end. So if there's anything else that you guys would specifically like to know about, we can jump into that towards the end.
Thank you, Chelsea. And I just wanted to mention that if you do have questions and you want to put them into the chat, we do have our student ambassadors as well as Jenna available to answer a question. So please feel free to go ahead and do that. I'm going to move on. Again, my name is Carol Andrew, and I'm an assistant dean here at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. And we're really excited to have you at the open house today. It's a day chock full of activities, and we want to encourage you to participate. And starting with this session and with Jenna's opening with regard to admissions and the application process, I'm going to play a short video here for you, and then we'll move on. Whoop, didn't play. Let's try again.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the sound is not coming through.
I'm sorry, the sound isn't coming through?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my apologies. I don't know why.
Okay.
We're going to move on then and focus a little bit individually on some of the things that are discussed in the video. The video is available on our website. If one of the ambassadors can type in the sebs.rutgers.edu website, it is on the main page, I believe, for prospective students. So the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, as unfortunately you didn't just hear in the video, is a small school within the large research institution. We have about 36,000 students at Rutgers University in New Brunswick, and the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences has 3,200 students. So you can see that we have a small amount of students in this large, vibrant, exciting community. We have about approximately 300 faculty members that are affiliated with the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, which you'll also hear us refer to as SEBS, S-E-B-S. And that is part of the 10,000 members of the faculty at Rutgers University. There's 21 majors affiliated with our school, 40 minors and certificate programs, and students are also have available at their fingertips to about 100 or more second majors and minors throughout the New Brunswick school system. Now, our particular 21 majors are listed on your screen right now, and we like to highlight some of our very specialized programs, including agriculture and food systems, nutritional sciences, ecology, evolution, and natural research, just to name just a few you see on the screen. And you're going to have the opportunity today to visit with the faculty members for many of these programs this morning and this afternoon, and I encourage you to do so. So this small school within this large research institution is something that we pride ourselves upon because it's a community of scholars, academics, staff, students that you can become a real part of during your tenure at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, and avail yourselves to many small community opportunities. At the same time, you have this large research institution at your fingertips, whether it be additional majors and programs, whether it be classes, subject areas, clubs, social activities. You can have that small school experience and live on our campus when our campuses are open. You could participate in a major that is on a small scale, attend classes on our campus, but at the same time, let's say you're interested in sports. You can travel to the different campuses and get involved in sports, whether it's a Division I participant and being in the audience, or maybe there's something that you like to do in intramurals. Maybe there's a club or an organization that is offered on our campus that you want to participate in. Maybe the Animal Science Club or the Seeing Iron Club, which is right on our campus. Or maybe you're more interested in getting involved in the arts and you want to join the choir or the marching band. Both of these kinds of opportunities are available to all our students. Now, as a transfer student, you do want to make sure that you come prepared to our school. Now, I'd like to see in the chat box if you're coming from a 2-year institution or a 4-year institution. We have New Jersey community colleges, which there are 19 community colleges that are feed to the Rutgers University system. And preparing as a community college student is similar to a 4-year student, but there are specific things that I'd like to share with you, if at all possible, if we can find out who's in the audience. And you could do a shout out as well. For students that are interested in our life science majors, for instance, we recommend completion of general biology 1 and 2 with the lab, and general chemistry 1 with a lab, and pre-calculus. And you can see up on the screen right now the majors that are considered life science majors. Now, we also recommend an additional math and science courses, if at all possible. And it could include as high as organic chemistry or even physics 1 and 2. These are not requirements to get into our programs. It's just a way that you can prepare yourself best for moving as a transfer in a smooth way. Those other science-related majors that you see listed on my screen right now are really a good transition if you have completed your pre-calculus. That really prepares you for next steps. And it's then something that will help you not only be competitive for our programs, but that you will have completed the math requirement of your program. Differently, of course, is a physical science major. And in this particular program, I'm talking about meteorology. And we do recommend that you go higher with your math requirements, calculus 1, physics 1 and 2, and general chemistry with your science requirements to be best prepared for our programs. Now, within our degree granting programs, you do have to finish what's called the core curriculum. If you are coming from an institution and you have not completed a degree program, the core curriculum would encompass a variety of courses to help you be a more well-rounded student, to offer you some real-world courses that will help you upon graduation and complete that degree program. There is a link on our website to the core curriculum, but we're talking about things related to the humanities, to the social sciences, including writing, quantitative material, and so forth. Again, if one of the students could list the link on the chat. I would appreciate that. And then also, as part of our core curriculum and our majors, which marry the core curriculum and your major subjects, we do have what's called a requirement that is experience-based education. Experience-based education is exactly what it sounds like. It's your hands-on experience that you would gain during your degree granting program. Now, there's a variety of ways that you can get this done, but one of the things I want to note is that at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, one of the reasons that we are considered a professional school is because this is a component of your degree. You're going to earn credit for this. In many instances, students have the opportunities to do an internship or an apprenticeship or an externship. But at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, this is, again, part of your degree program, and you must do this in order to graduate. And we think it's a wonderful opportunity. Ways you can complete this is through, you can see a list on the screen, through a George H. Cook Scholars Project, which is like a master's level thesis. We've had students who have worked with their mentors, who are our faculty members, to complete these projects, and in some cases have been published, have done poster sessions at research opportunities, and have really gone on to utilize this research towards graduate work later on. There's departmental research you can get involved in, where there's hands-on learning in the labs, out in the field, and of course, practical experience. And for those students who are interested in going beyond what's offered right at the school, you can also do independent studies. There are internships available. For example, let's say you're interested in animal science and you would like to have that opportunity on campus. We do have our own forum, and if you haven't visited our campus yet, you can do a virtual visit today through our site. And we have opportunities available there. But let's say you want to go beyond the campus. We have students who are at the Philadelphia Zoo. We've had students who have gone down to Disney World. And even beyond that, we've had students who have done international study abroad through the Rutgers Study Abroad program. And we also have the SEBS international programs, who marry some internship programs along with international studies in places like Thailand and India. Landscape architecture has a program that's in Germany and in Austria. So there's a lot of ways to get international experience, but also to combine it with the requirement of experience-based education. And this is an exciting part of our program. Now, for those students who are coming from a New Jersey community college or a two-year institution, even outside of the state of New Jersey, we do have some transfer credit restrictions. And that includes a maximum number of credits. From a two-year institution, if this is the last institution that you have attended full-time, you can transfer up to 60 credits. For a bachelor's level, if you're attending, for example, a four-year institution, whether it be in the state or out of the state, you can transfer up to 90 credits towards the 120 credits that you will need to graduate. The same is true for pre-college coursework that you have taken from the high school. That would end up a maximum of 60 credits. And in addition to that, if you have completed advanced placement or international baccalaureate credits, those credits are transferable as well towards your program as a transfer student, as long as you have achieved a 4 or a 5 on the advanced placement or a score on the high-level international baccalaureate of a 5, 6, or a 7. Now, if you are a New Jersey community college student, there's a wonderful resource that's available online. It's called newjerseytransfer.org, and I do highlight this site on this slide for you, and I suggest you copy and paste this particular address if you're not familiar with it. The New Jersey Community College advisors use this site, as well as all the institutions in the state of New Jersey. And on this site, you can look up how courses will transfer from your community college to Rutgers School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. Now, in addition to that, you can also look at how a particular program is built with the community college courses in mind and or looking at the Rutgers University requirements. So what I have up on my screen right now is an example of what you would see under what's called the transfer program link on njtransfer.org. And it's a combination of the general education requirements and then major course requirements with course numbers from the community college that you would attend. So this particular degree I'm looking at right now is for microbiology. And you can see here approximately 55 directed credits that would go towards 60 credits that you would transfer towards our program. The positive thing about this is that you're really able to plan from day one at the community college if you've determined at that point, which doesn't always happen, what it is that you would like to major in. But later on, if you've determined that there's a particular major that you want to transfer into at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, you can also look at this tool to see what have I taken, how is it going to transfer, and so you can feel comfortable with what you want to plan and take before you get here. We do allow students to take courses in the summer at our school before you arrive for fall enrollment, and I also suggest to students that they reach out to us, that they reach out to us for guidance regarding what courses they take before arriving here. Now, the final link I have on here is how to follow us for more information with our programs. Of course, you can go on Instagram, on Facebook. You can register for a virtual class today or another day, and there's an icon on here to do so. And then also the links to reach out to ask more questions after today. But one of the things that I'd like to mention, and we could go into the chat as well, is if you email transfers directly to me, transfers@sebs.rutgers.edu, I am happy to answer questions through email. And in addition to that, I am also happy to meet with students and their families in a virtual setting. And you are able to make appointments to do that through our sebs.rutgers.edu website. So if one of the students could post that up on the chat, I would appreciate those links to be put there. Now I'm going to stop sharing here, and I would like to mention that this platform is new for me to be working on. So I did realize as I was going through some of this that a couple of my slides were missing. And of course, you couldn't hear the video earlier, and I do apologize for that. But in truth, what really matters is that you get the right information in advance and that you plan as much as you can for how your transfer is going to take place. Now, Jenna Yant mentioned a little bit earlier about some due dates for applying for transfer. And I wondered, Jenna, if you wouldn't mind just unmuting for a minute and answering a question, which I don't know if it was addressed specifically, but I often get a question from students about those due dates, because for transfers, it works a little bit differently than for first year students. And if they miss that priority due date, what happens?
Absolutely. So we do continue to accept applications. We'll continue to admit students as long as we have space within the classes. It will essentially kind of function almost like rolling admissions. After those due dates, we do recommend students submit the documents by that time period, but we know particularly for our students who are transferring, you may not know at that point, and that's okay. A lot of our students who are coming in the fall, we'll see students over the summer who, for whatever reason, especially this year with COVID and some unpredictability, that happens, and that's okay. As long as we still have space in the class, we'll accept applications, we'll admit you, and you can always talk to us as well. We're happy to answer questions you have. We can walk you through the process too. We also keep our school availability up on the website. That's updated once we start getting into the summer, typically weekly as well. So you can absolutely apply, and we encourage you to do so. Even if you miss that deadline, go ahead and submit it.
Great, thank you, because I do often get that question, and I don't want students to think that it's a problem to apply late. We prefer for you to apply earlier so you can do some of the planning like I talked about, but absolutely, get your application in as long as the application is up and available. This is something that you can choose to do. Now, the next steps that happen once you have been admitted and you determine that you want to enroll, and you have enrolled, you will be invited to come to a STARS Day. And it's a day that you'd come in and you would work with your advisor in your major and meet with folks in the Office of Academic Programs where I work. And you would begin registration for classes. So that is a date in January the 13th this year for students that are transferring in the spring. And then we have several dates available in the summer, which will be posted as we get a little bit closer to enrolling for the fall. And those begin usually in May and in June and go throughout the summer. And we will be offering, of course, this STAR Day in January virtually. And the same will happen next summer, although we're hoping we'll have a combination of in-person and virtual STAR Days available for our new transfer students. All right, I think unless there's a question in the chat that is coming up, if anything from my participants from our student ambassadors, if any of you have something that you think needs to be addressed today, I invite you to unmute. There's a quick question. We have like about 3 minutes left. And then once we close down, I just want to remind participants that you can move on to a session, an academic session after this. And throughout the day, there's a variety of activities that I encourage you to participate in. And after today, to register for a virtual class, it's an exciting opportunity to see how a class runs at the university. And I'm going to try to do this. I'm talking and walking at the same time. I'm going to put this screen back up here in case you want to register for that class now. Anything else anybody needs to add? Other questions? I want to thank you for coming today. This is an exciting time for us. Transfers at sebs.rutgers.edu. If you have questions after today, which is usually what happens, and sebs.rutgers.edu. If you want to go on the chat from Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 p.m. There's an administrator and a resident dean on duty to answer questions or to make appointments, and we can have a virtual appointment if you would like to discuss any of your particular questions after today. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.